Okay, so welcome. As I told Bob, I have a sore throat today. I don't know what. I hope I'm not getting sick. So I've got my tea ready here, and I've got some great speakers for me today. Good readers, I should say. Today we're going to be looking at how to compare, okay, in English. And there's a couple different ways, okay? So we'll take a look at those different ways, and we'll do some practice. And that will be about it today. All right. So let me just screen share for you quickly. My computer's been going slow lately, so I have this ready to go. All right, perfect. So comparison. Now, one of the things you might have heard to compare is, for example, she is taller than her daughter, for example. Okay. This is a common, I would say, every day. It's the very basic use of comparing two things. Okay, so in this case, there's she, or the mom, and then the daughter. Okay, so there's two people in this sentence, and one is taller than the other, and that's the structure that we use. Okay, so if you need the very basic structure, that's basically it. So it's subject. Actually, I'll write this down. Subject, verb to be, basically. Then we have, what is it? The adjective, and then the word than, and then how do I write this? Subject number 2. So the first one obviously would be subject number 1. But that's basically it. So we will see that today. Okay. In this class, we'll be starting with the as much as. So don't read this if you have already. But as much as, do you know what as much as means? Have you seen it before? What kind of information do you have about this? No one wants to answer. Has anyone seen?
I think I have an idea. I think if you have a lot have something and the other have two, you want someone want compare this thing, they will say as much as
Yep.
or equals
That
or
is
equal.
exactly what I was looking for. That equality word. And that's exactly what this is. So we have 4 sentences here. Let's actually we'll have Ken read. You haven't spoken yet. Ken, why don't you read everything you see on this slide? Okay, we've got a lot of slides today, so everyone will get to read.
Okay. As much as, with as much as we can use modifiers beforehand. He's just as tall as me. He's hardly as clever as me. They're nearly as pretty as my friend. I eat junk food twice as much as you.
Okay, so the basic structure of this, actually, let me get to this, is he is as tall as me. Now, these are the modifiers they're talking about. We'll talk about those in a moment, just because there's a lot of information on this page. Okay, so again, we have our subject. We have 2 subjects. Okay, whoops, there. He and me. Then we have our verb to be again. Okay, now I'm going to say 99% of the time you're going to use the verb be. However, I'm sure there are cases that you use a different verb. For now, we'll say it's the verb to be. Then if you want to say someone is the same adjective as someone else or something else, this is the structure that you put it as, okay? So if you say he is as tall as me, that's the same. You're both the same height, okay? Now, if you say he is just as tall as me, does anyone understand the difference with the just with or without in the sentence? Does it make it different?
Maybe just means exactly. Exactly
Yeah. That's a really good answer, Ken. That's exactly what it is. So he is just as tall as me, is just, by a millimeter or something, the same as me. You're very right with that one. Now, in the other sentences, we'll see that these modifiers change the sentence. Okay, so any questions with the first sentence before we continue?
Hardly is very is equal to very.
Hey, you're jumping. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, sentence number 1 is done. If no more questions. So, yes.
Right, okay.
That's okay. So, she is hardly as clever as me. Again, just to repeat, you see the subject, the verb to be, as, adjective, as, and then another person. Okay? So, without hardly, both of you are equally intelligent. Okay, let's say. Now, with the word hardly is one of those difficult adverbs that we have. Let me start off, or let me write this phrase. Okay. Okay. So, yes, Ken, more or less, that's what it is. Hardly is barely. However, there's this phrase that we have in English. It's, are you working hard or hardly working? Now, as I said before, hardly is an adverb that is different. Okay, it's not like she looks different. She's dressed differently than me, for example. In that case, they have the same kind of meaning. It just depends on the structure of the sentence if you use just the adjective or the adverb, okay? Adverbs are the words that have the ly at the end. Now, has anyone seen the phrase that I wrote? Are you working hard or hardly working?
Yeah, it's a different meaning.
What does it mean then?
For working hard means working very honestly, intensively, and hardly working is very working.
Exactly. And that's where the differences come in. And now I've spilled a little bit of my tea. So welcome on a phone. So that was not good. It's fine though. So yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Hardly is barely. Okay. So this is one of those really, really, really confusing things. This is something that you wouldn't know unless someone told you. Okay. So again, it's kind of confusing. So in this case, when I say she's hardly as clever as me, what I'm really saying is I'm kind of insulting her, okay? And saying she is absolutely not as smart as me or as intelligent as me, okay? So this wouldn't be very clear to someone who didn't understand the word hardly, okay? Questions. Does that make sense? Is everyone scared now? Bob, what do you think? Is this okay?
Everything is okay.
Did I explain it okay? Okay.
I learn grammar.
Wonderful. Yep, that's my specialty.
Yes.
Love grammar. Okay, good. So that's basically that. All right. So perfect. If there's no questions, let's look at the next one. They are nearly as pretty as my friend. So nearly in this case, again, we'll change the sentence. So without nearly, it says they are as pretty as my friend. They're the same prettiness. They're all pretty. They're the same. Okay. If I add nearly, what does nearly mean? Nearly changes everything. Does anyone know what it means?
Maybe almost pretty as me or my friend.
Yes, almost as pretty as Ken. Yes. They're nearly as pretty as my friend. Yes. They're almost as pretty as my friend. Okay. I don't know if this is going well or if everyone's confused or it's just basic. So let's look at the next one. This one's at least more interesting, that topic. I eat junk food twice as much as you. What is junk food to start? Chen, who do you know what junk food is?
Yeah. like potato, oil potato.
Okay, yeah, like a potato chip. Or we can say there's types of restaurants, like the fast food places, probably serve junk food, even though some are trying to be healthy. Junk food is the food that is not good for you, basically. Junk is another word for trash, garbage, etc. Okay, so this sentence, Bob, what do you understand from this sentence?
I eat junk food twice as much as you. I eat food much more than
Double.
than my yes.
Exactly. Very good. So this person eats double the amount of not good food or unhealthy food, let's say, as the other person in this case. Okay. Good. So you can see, that these words make a big difference. Again, if we remove twice from this sentence, I eat junk food as much as you, then both people, the I person, the one who's speaking, and the one they're talking to, you, basically eat the exact same. But if we add twice, then this person, I, eats double the amount. All right. So it can be very confusing. So hopefully, I think I went through that. What's the word? Oh, my brain I have a headache today. Sorry. So it's the weather, maybe. I think it's going to rain. It looks like it's going to rain. So we'll see. But yeah, it makes a difference. Okay. It might not be a very dramatic difference for those who don't understand these words, but for the natives, yes, definitely. Now, you can use that word just for only for emphasis. Okay. The other ones definitely change. Okay. Questions? Okay. Quiet again. I think that's a good sign. So very good. So now he's just Italian, hardly as clever as me. So again, the same sentences, but now we're going to kind of change the sentence a little bit. But you'll see that both are correct. So so we can use the subject pronoun. I use the word just the subject plus the auxiliary verb. Okay. And this is after, this is at the end. Or the object pronoun on its own. So let's talk about the differences. Bob, why don't you read these two examples for us?
Yes. He drives 3 times as fast as I do. He drives 3 times as fast as me.
So what's the difference in these sentences?
He drives, yes, 3 times fast as I do, as I can.
Okay. More or less, this is more of the structure in this case, okay, that we're going to focus on. So as I do or as me. So physically, these are the differences. And the structure, we can use this or subject pronoun on its own. I guess that's important information too. Okay. So in this case, we're using the auxiliary verb do. Well, how do you know which auxiliary verb to use? Does anyone know? Ooh, I think that's a difficult question. That's why I asked. Does anyone know? Well, let's look at the first verb in this sentence. What verb tense is this?
Present.
Present what?
Present simple.
Okay. So we have the present simple. Yes. Third person singular, present simple. Yes. So Ken, how do we get the auxiliary verb do in there? How did
Does?
that happen?
You mean does? I do because
Sure.
do explain and I, so it should be do, not does.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The reason we're using do and not, for example, have or the verb to be conjugated, okay? We're using do because in the present simple, negative, what's the auxiliary verb? Good question.
That doesn't.
Exactly. We use don't or doesn't, depending on the subject. Also in the questions, do you, does he, those are the auxiliary verbs for the present simple, okay? For example, if it were, uh-oh, I have eaten, have you? Then have is our auxiliary verb. So, and have eaten is the present perfect, okay? So it depends on the verb tense. That's what I'm trying to focus on here, okay? It's not just we use do in every case, okay? And that's basically it. So me and I do. That's it. I mean, you can use just the pronoun here or the subject plus the auxiliary verb, which is for this tense. So probably this first one is more complicated, right, than the second example? What do we think? Or is it the same? I should start a poll. All of you.
But I don't know. It's like the same meaning, but I don't know.
Okay. Is there one that you would say probably more common than the other or not?
Second sentence is more common to me.
All right, Bob, what about you?
I don't know.
Okay, that's perfect. I like
I'm
that.
a little confused.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
But I think grammatically first sentence is more makes sense.
Okay. Well, I would think that would be more confusing, like I said, because of the I do, the auxiliary verb at the end. So I'm trying to think as, if I weren't a native speaker, I think if you would have asked me this 10 years ago and said, well, which one is correct? I would say, both, but I would have no idea why. Okay. I guess I still don't know why both of these are correct, but I can tell you that we use both of these. They're the same. They have no difference in meaning. Okay.
Okay.
Chenhu, let's ask you, and then we'll go on to the next page. Okay. So have you seen both of these endings?
Yes.
Both.
Okay.
Both. Yeah.
Both? Okay,
Ask
that's
me.
perfect. Yeah, Chenhu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, that's fine. Very good. Now, with that, we'll go down. All right. So, Chenhu, why don't you read these sentences for us?
Okay. Two big comparisons used for lot, much, plus comparative, objective, or adverb. My next door neighbor on the right is far noisier than the one on the left. She got a lot better feedback than me. I did. My friend's new business took off much faster than mine. I did.
Okay. So, very good. So, again, more information here. So, we can use far, a lot, and much. These, I believe, these are called quantifiers. Okay. Quantifiers add emphasis. So, we have far, a lot, and much. Basically, they mean more than more than if we didn't use this, okay? So if I say far noisier than, another way I can say this would be a lot noisier than, okay? So you have two neighbors. One is really noisy and the other really isn't. Okay, that's the idea of this sentence. Do we have any questions about that right now?
I don't know the last one, the did. Mine, why
We'll get
did?
there.
Why use the did?
All right, we'll get there, I promise. Just wait a moment, okay? If there's no questions in this one, that's fine.
I have one question.
Okay,
How about
okay.
you much noisier? Is it correct?
Yeah. Much noisier is perfectly fine as well. Yep, you can choose. Basically, all these three are the same. So you can choose. I would almost, if you wanted a little bit of a difference, I'd say far is probably more common in England, the UK, let's say. Much might be more common in the States, and a lot, I would say the States as well, but that's me, and I'm from there. So, but yeah, no, they all have the same meaning.
Okay.
Okay. So in the second sentence, I've got a good question here for everybody. She got a lot better feedback than me or than I did. Okay. First of all, feedback. Does everyone know what the word feedback means?
To review.
I think reply, answer, and so on.
All right. Bob, do you have any
idea?
Okay.
Like a backup.
Okay, so all kinds of different answers here. Yes, I do agree with some. Basically, feedback, if I were to describe feedback, for example, maybe, okay, I'm doing this class, right? After this class, Thomas would watch the video, right? And he would come back to me and tell me good and bad things about the class, maybe what he would have changed, etc. That's feedback. Okay? So it's information about something that happened. Okay, so I can say, I'd like your feedback about the dessert I'm making for dinner tonight. Okay, so I want you to tell me what you think. And in this case, we're using the auxiliary verb did. Who can tell me why?
Because they got, not get. The past.
Here's a matching video.
The past simple is what we're using. Yeah, she got a letter. Yep, we're using the past simple. So auxiliary verb here is did. So that is wonderful. Okay. Any questions with the second sentence? No?
No.
Okay. All right. So this third sentence is our friend's new business took off much faster than mine did. What is took off? Let's start with that first. What is to take off in this context?
To launch.
Ooh, to launch. Okay, yeah. So your friend's business is doing much better, basically, than yours, than the person who's saying this. Okay. Now in this
A plane, like a plane.
Right. Okay. Well, launch. I mean, there's different meanings with launch as well, because you could say my friend's new business is launching. I don't know. Has launched much faster than mine. Okay. So it just means to go well, to start up, I guess you could say. Okay. So basically, your friend's business is making more money than you at your business. This did, Chen Hu had a question with did. Was it this did in the third sentence?
I don't understand why they are use the did.
Okay. Well, in this case, as you can see, it's in parentheses And you can use it or not. You don't have to, but you can. And again, it's basically the same as this. However, in this case, we're using mine, which is a different type of pronoun. Okay. And let me think, is it a possessive pronoun? It's mine, for example. And that's basically it. Again, we're using did because took is in the past simple. Take, took, taken, okay, are the three types. Does that help? I mean, because it's not just this pronoun and it's not this subject either. Because the business is yours or the business is mine. So it goes in that kind of structure of the sentence. Does that make sense?
I think the mine, like me. Why? I don't know. I don't understand why here you did. Because the me, me need to don't need to use the did.
Right. In this case, you can. So there is a different structure. This is a different type of a pronoun. To me, this is a subject. I'm sorry. This is a pronoun and this is a subject. But this is also a pronoun. It's just a different type. So also with this type, it wasn't explained in the part from before. That's all. And we're using mine because you're referring to the business. It's his or her business. So you can see with his or her, it's also another pronoun. And it's my friend's new business. Because you could say, my friend's new business took off much faster than my new business did. Okay, again, we're using the other pronoun that's available, my new business. But we don't actually need to say much faster than my new business did. Do you see what I mean? We're reducing the sentence because it's extra information that we understand from this context. Does that help a little, Chenhu? Do you have more questions?
No.
Yeah, it's
Thank
just
you.
a structural thing. It's just because of the structure. Okay. Bob or Ken, any questions here?
No.
No.
All right. So pretty intense comparisons today. If we move down, smaller comparisons, okay? So before in this last one, you saw big comparisons, okay? And so we use these quantifiers. Now we're going to use the opposite. And let's see, Bob, you read less from before. So Bob will have you read this one and then Ken, you can read the next slide, okay?
Yes. Small comparisons. Use plus slightly, a little bit, a tiny bit, plus comparative adjective or adverb. He drives only slightly more careful than me. I do. He got over not getting the job only a little bit better than me. I did. My friend is a tiny bit cleverer, yes, than me. I am.
All right, so very good. Lots of information here again. So again, slightly, a little bit, and a tiny bit all represent something smaller. Okay, so this comparative adjective, which I actually forgot to mention before, would be in this case, for example, more carefully. Better is an irregular comparative adjective, or cleverer. Okay, clever is one of those comparative adjectives that I think probably more clever than me is correct. However, a lot of people over the years have said cleverer, and so we just use that because it's a little bit easier. Okay. But again, I think more clever in this example sentence would sound strange. My friend is a tiny bit more clever than me, for example. So you have like tiny bit, which means a little, plus you would have the more that just doesn't really go well together. So back up to this first example, slightly more carefully. What's the word slightly? Okay. Have you seen the word slightly before here? Is what I want to ask. Yes, no, nothing, no comment.
Yes.
Have you used it before or just heard it before?
You mean the word slightly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that. I know the word, but this sentence is slightly more carefully, but very kind of very rhetorical.
Yeah, well, a lot of ly in this sentence. Okay. So he drives only slightly more carefully than me, for example. And as you can see that this line, this slash should be over a little bit, should be here. Okay, and it's not. But that's okay. You know, personally, I would probably say he drives only a little bit more carefully than I do. Okay. And I would say that because, like Ken said, it sounds weird with having ly here and ly here. Okay. So you can change the sentence. It doesn't sound so strange to you. However, this sentence is technically correct. Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. So he got over not getting the job only a little bit better than me. So neither of the two people in this sentence got the job. Okay. No one got a new job. Someone else did. So I want to ask first about got over. He got over. What is get over in this case? This one's kind of a little difficult to explain. But do you have any ideas what it could mean, get over? He got over.
Usually get over means positive, but I think this case not getting a job, so I confused.
Okay, well that's a good okay, I get that. So he got over. To get over something means to like overcome, to surpass, to not worry about something anymore. Okay? So he's not worried about the fact that he didn't get the job.
I see.
Okay? So the fact he didn't get the job and neither did the other person, but the other person is taking it a little more hard or taking it harder than the other person, than the first person. So it's the second person, the me, the speaker of the original sentence, would be a little bit more sad than he in this case. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, now I've got a very difficult grammar question. Why is getting in the ing form?
Because of not.
Because of not or something else? Because not just makes a sentence negative.
Get over and not without to, verb, original verb cannot be used. But
Okay.
get over to is maybe strange, not a.
Right. Well, to get over is a phrasal verb. So we have that. So a phrasal verb is a verb and a preposition. We have a preposition. So the next verb is the verb with an ing. However, the word not is here. However, that does not change this. Okay, so getting is in this form because it's after a preposition. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. And now this last sentence. My friend is a tiny bit cleverer than me. So who's smarter, my friend or me?
My friend.
Very good. All right. And here the auxiliary verb is am. Why?
Because clever is not the action, it's a state of.
Okay, good. And that's why it's the adjective here. And so our only other verb in here is the verb to be is conjugated for my friend. And you would say, I am clever, for example. Okay. My friend is a tiny bit cleverer than me, than I am. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is anyone really, really, really confused at the moment?
Usually it's me.
How are you today, Bob? Do you understand this?
Yes, I understand.
Good.
Yes.
Chen, who any questions? Yeah, sorry, Bob.
For me, is more important than I understand everything.
Perfect. No, I'm very happy. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that. Chen, who, do you have anything to add?
No, I understand. Me too.
Woohoo, let's have a party. Not this week, okay? Maybe next week when I feel better. So all right, so I said Ken was gonna read this one. So Ken, read about superlatives, please.
Okay. Use by far, easily, nearly, almost to modify superlative adjectives. She has by far the loudest snore I have ever heard. He is easily the biggest whinger I know. It was nearly almost the worst tornado in the world.
Okay, so what's going on with superlatives here?
The loudest, biggest, and the worst is a irregular change, but yes, that change happens.
Okay. All right, so yeah, there's that. And what does a superlative do? What is it comparing?
Comparative, superlative.
Comparative and superlative. Yes. Comparatives compares two things. Superlatives are like of everything, okay? So she has by far the loudest snore I have ever heard. Out of all of the people snoring in your life, she, whoever that may be, has the loudest snore, okay? So that's what it's talking about. Okay. What is snoring, by the way? And when do you make that noise?
Sleeping, usually sleeping.
Okay. Perfect. Very good. What about he is easily the biggest winger I know. What is that?
I don't know.
No?
No, what is winger? No.
Ken, have you heard of that before?
No.
No. All right. Chen, who have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
What is it?
My father. My father will have a very hard work at night. He will snore.
Okay, yep. So you're still okay, good. Well, that's fine. What about Chen, who have you seen this word before? Winger.
Finger. I think can fly on the wall. Have
All right.
the picture. Have the picture.
Not exactly. This is someone who likes to complain a lot. This has to be a British English word because this is something I do not use, okay? This is someone who likes to complain a lot. And I would say that, for example, she likes to complain a lot. Okay, he is easily the biggest complainer I know, for example. That's what I would say. Okay.
Yeah, I see.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. And then it was nearly or almost the worst tornado in the world. So out of all the tornadoes in the world, this one specifically was pretty much the worst. Okay. So again, we're using these quantifiers used with the superlative adjectives here. And the superlatives are different from the comparatives because we have these endings, the est. Worst is also an irregular one, okay? Those biggest could be because you have to add another G, okay? But these are the superlative answers here, okay? Any questions about these sentences? Okay. So again, we can say this in many, many, many different ways. These are just some of the ways, okay? So with that, let's go to the next page here. So the structure for comparison. All right. So let's see. Chen-Hu, I think it's time. Wait, can you read the lesson? Yeah, Chen-Hu, why don't you read this for us, okay?
Okay. The structure for the the structure for the composition use the two. So relationship between things. The bigger volcano, the bigger a volcano, the scarier it will be. The heavier uh terrestrial storm, the wetter you will get. The more language I learn, the more job I will be able to get. Like it will be like Twitter.
Yeah. All right. So very good. Thank you. Good reading. Lots of difficult words in here. So again, the structure. So the bigger a volcano, the scarier it will be. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not really comparing two things. I mean, we are comparing two things, but not exactly as this volcano is bigger than that volcano, for example. We're using two different adjectives here, okay? And as it says, it's showing the relationship. Okay, so a small volcano, not very scary. A huge volcano, very scary. Okay. So again, of course, we can use different words. Okay. The heavier a torrential storm. What is a torrential storm? Let's start with that.
Intensive storm.
Exactly. And then it says the wetter you will get. Wetter? What's this?
Like rain, heavy rain.
Exactly. And when it rains a lot and you're outside, you get wet. So if you're outside during a really heavy torrential storm, then you're going to get, we use a couple different words. Does anyone know the word that means you're absolutely wet from head to toe? There's two words. No idea? Okay. You can say drenched or soaked. Okay. So, for example, I was out in the heavy torrential storm. I got drenched. Drenched basically means that everyone from all around you was pouring water on you and you're wet everywhere. Okay. Soaked is the same thing. Okay. So a little bit of vocabulary there. Look it up in your own language if you need a really good translation. Okay. Let's see here. The more languages I learn, the more jobs I will be able to get. And again, the more and the more. Okay. If you speak two languages, okay, you have some more opportunities than someone who speaks one language. But the more languages you learn, the even more job opportunities you'll be able to get. Any questions here? Is this new for you, different?
Yes.
So it's new and different. Good. Perfect. Well, I'd like to move on. Okay, here. We have certain the phrases in English. So the bigger, the better, the more, the merrier. These basically are, I guess, idioms, we could say. They're just phrases. So the bigger, the better. Basically, the bigger something is, the better it is. Like a chocolate cake, for example. The bigger the chocolate cake, the better. Because then we don't have to share a little piece, for example. And the more, the merrier. Merry, M-E-R-R-Y. Does anyone know what that means? Not Merry Christmas. Okay, this is just an adjective.
Maybe fun? I don't know.
Kind of. It's a kind of a synonym for happy.
Okay.
The more people there are, the happier we will be. Okay, there's more conversations, there's more people around, that kind of thing. So these are just, phrases that we have in English. Okay. So that's quite interesting. There's one slide that I want to do. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay, sure. So first, we'll do this one. So we need to correct the sentences. He is nearly twice tall as me. What is wrong with this sentence?
Between toes and tail.
What do we need?
Twice.
Add the word as.
Exactly. He is nearly twice as tall as me. Very good. And then we have this sentence. The gusty winds are just bad as last year. What's wrong with this sentence?
Just between just and bad. Need add as.
Very good. The gusty winds are just as bad as last year. What's the word gusty?
Maybe hard wind, strong wind.
Very good. I was thinking, how do I explain that? Yeah, very strong winds, but not consistent. Maybe in a moment it's very strong, the next minute it's not. Then it's really strong again, and then it's not. Okay. Good. Then this one. Yeah. Actually, there was one. I think we're gonna go directly there. 1 second. Okay, this is the one I want because it has different ones. So, correct these sentences. Ken, can you read the first one for us?
Okay. So, the more I know, more informed I will be.
Okay. What's wrong? What are we missing?
I think if I say this phrase, the more I know, more information I will get.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, you can change that ending. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
So informed should be information or something.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else? This is the one where we need the. The more I know, the more informed I will be. The more information I will have. Okay. So yes, you can absolutely change this part of the sentence. Okay. But the word the here is definitely what we're missing here. Okay. What about Bob? Please read the second sentence.
The more, the merry.
All right, good. You're paying attention. And Chen-Hu, the last one, please.
The bigger, the better.
The bigger, the better. Very good. You are also paying attention here because that was in that last slide. I thought those are a little bit more important than some of the other things that we skipped over here. So, yep, the bigger, the better, and the more, the merrier. Very good. Perfect. And that reminds me, I need to take a look at our schedule for the next week and see exactly what we're doing. So let me stop screen sharing for a moment. So good. So we all learned something today, right?
Yes, very useful class. Very useful class today.
Very good. I'm very happy to hear that. So that's good. So on Monday, I really need this class. How to get along with your boss. Okay, there could be issues, problems, things like that. Obviously, everyone should have a boss like Thomas, and no one will have a problem with their boss. Okay, so maybe it's the boss's fault. And then next Wednesday, we're working on collocations. Collocations are those words that go together for no reason. Okay. It just is the way it is, and we can't do anything about it. So we'll look at those two classes next week. And then, Bob, shortly after that, you're leaving. That's quite sad. You'll join us when you can. I know that.
Yes.
Okay. You said the 25th you leave, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure now because I expect air tickets.
Oh,
Air
flight.
tickets. Yes, this is only
Last
proposed.
deal.
Yes.
The last thing you need, and you absolutely need that. So, okay. All right. Okay. Well, very good. Well, then, everyone, thank you all for joining me today. It was a really good class. Hopefully, it was clear enough. I think it was. And maybe we'll have to do a review someday, and we'll have the more the merrier, or something like that. So, enjoy your day, and we will hopefully see you on Monday. Okay?
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
See you.
Bye. No
Bye.
one's
Bye.
leaving. Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.